The San Francisco Mime Troupe is a theater of political satire which performs free shows in various parks in the San Francisco Bay Area and around California. The troupe does not, however, perform silent mime, but each year creates an original musical comedy that combines aspects of commedia dell'arte, melodrama, and broad farce with topical political themes. The group was awarded the Regional Theatre Award at the 41st Tony Awards. History. Origins. The group was founded in 1959 by R.G. Davis as a medium of expression of his divergent theatrical concepts. The group debuted with Mime and Word and the 11th Hour Mime Show. However, by 1961, the group transitioned to the commedia dell'arte format to more thoroughly comment on perceived political repression in the United States of America, the growing American civil rights movement and military and covert intervention abroad. In the mid-1960s the group started to rely less on the direct commedia dell'arte format and transitioned into a more rambunctious, satirical style. It also began integrating elements of jazz into its musical composition, eventually leading to the inclusion of a jazz band within the troupe. The group gained significant notoriety for its free performances in Golden Gate Park and numerous altercations with law enforcement. By the early 1970s, the troupe had earned a reputation for opposing capitalism, sexism, and war. Post-Davis history. In the early 70s, Mr. Davis left the troupe when it reformed as a collective, the members of which operate as the artistic director, at which time the troupe produced one of its most successful shows, The Independent Female. In the 1980s, the group's productions retaliated against the Reagan administration with a number of productions. In Fact We're No meets The Moral Majority, Fact We're No, an alcoholic superhero that became a recurring protagonist, bestowed wisdom upon prominent icons, such as Jerry Falwell. Steel Town characterized the plight of steel workers and the decline of steel manufacture in the U.S. For this production, the troupe toured the Midwest, primarily in factory cities. In 1987, the troupe's Brechtian style of guerrilla theatre earned them a special Tony Award for excellence in regional theatre. Some of the troupe's more recent popular shows include The Minstrel Show or Civil Rights in a Cracker Barrel, which satirized entrenched attitudes among liberals and bigots during the civil rights struggle. Seeing Double, about a two-state solution in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Rip Van Winkle, which explores the gap between the optimism of 1968 and the 1988 reality, Offshore, about the real cost of globalization, Eating It, about genetic engineering and profit-driven science, 1600 Transylvania Avenue, about corporate government feeding on public wealth, Godfellas, a farce exposing the dangers of fundamentalism to democracy, and Making a Killing, about war propaganda, and the plight of Iraqis contaminated by depleted uranium. Red State, the troupe's 2008 fable about a small Midwest town that, after years of being ignored, demands accountability for their tax dollars, was nominated for a San Francisco Bay Area Theatre Critics Award for Best New Script, as was their 2009 production, Too Big to Fail, which detailed how credit and the philosophy of profit at all costs trap mesmerized citizens in a cycle of debt, while endlessly enriching the capitalists who cast the spell. Most recently the troupe produced Posabilidad, or Death of the Worker, which juxtaposes the stories of workers taking over two factories, one in Argentina and one in the U.S., and poses the question, why are American workers fighting for a seat at the table? Why not fight for the whole table? As well as the park-based shows, the Mime Troupe also tours nationally and internationally, having performed throughout Europe, Asia, South and Central America, and has won several awards. The group also facilitates community workshops. They are a non-profit making organization. The season traditionally starts on 4th of July weekend and ends on Labor Day weekend. Early mime troupers include Joe Bethlan, Saul Landau, Arthur Holden, Nina Serrano, Steve Reich, John Connell, Robert Nelson, William T. Wiley, Sandra Archer, Robert Hudson, Wally Hedrick, Judy North, Victoria Hochberg and John Broderick. Later veterans include Arthur Holden, Sharon Lockwood, Peter Coyote, Louis Valdez, Barry Shabaka Henley, Bruce Barthel, Joan Holden, Joan Mankin, Melody James, Andrea Snow, Daniel Chumley, Jael Weissman, Jim Haynier, John Robb, Emmett Grogan and Bill Graham. The current San Francisco Mime Troupe collective comprises Rotimi Agbabiaka, Valina Brown, Ellen Callis, Lizzie Calagero, Hugo E. Carbajal, Michael Carrero, Lisa Hori Garcia, Lawton Lovely, Michael Jean Sullivan, June L. Johanna Taguas, and Keiko Shimosato Carrero. Productions. 1959. Mime and Word. 1960. 11th Hour Mime Show. 1961. Act Without Words. 1961. Event High. 1961. Purgatory and Crap's Last Shape. 1962. The Dairy. 1963. UBU King. 1963. Event 2. 1963. Film. Plastic Haircut. 1963. Rusante's Maneuvers. 1963. The Route. 1964. Chorizos. 1964. Event 3. 1964. Mimes and Movie. 1965. Tartuffer. 1965. The Exception and the Rule. 1965. Candelayo. 1965. Chronicles of Hell. 1965. Civil Rights. 1965. Jim Crow in a Cracker Barrel. 1966. The Miser. 1966. Film. Mirage and Centimin. 1966. Jack Off. 1966. Olive Pits. 1966. Search and Seizure. 1966. What's That Ahead? 1967. Lament Militaire. 1967. The Condemned. 1967. The Minstrel Show or Civil Rights in a Cracker Barrel. 1967. The Vaudeville Show. 1968. Gutter Puppets. 1968. Little Black Panther. 1968. Rosentor the Veteran Guerrilla Marching Band is formed. 1969. The Congress of Whitewashers or Turandot. 1969. The Third Estate. 1970. Ecoman. 1970. Los Saeta. 1970. Seize the Time. 1970. Telephone Man or Ripping Off Ma Bell. 1970. The Independent Female. 1971. Clown Show. 1971. The Dragon Lady's Revenge. 1972. American Dreamer. 1972. Frozen Wages. 1972. High Risers. 1972. The Dragon Lady's Revenge. 1973. The Mother. 1973. San Francisco Scandals of 1973. 1974. The Great Air Robbery. 1975. Frijoles or Beans to You. 1975. Power Play. 1976. False Promises. 1976. No Zenganaren. 1977. Hotel Universe. 1978. Electrobucks. 1979. We Can't Pay, We Won't Pay. 1979. Squash. 1979. TV. Dinner. 1980. Fact Person. 1981. Americans or Last Tango in Wait Nango. 1981. Fact Winnow Meets the Moral Majority. 1981. Ghosts. 1982. Fact Winnow vs. Armageddonman. 1983. Secrets in the Sand. 1983. The Uprising at Fuente Ovejuna. 1984. Steel Town. 1985. Crossing Borders. 1985. Factwino. The Opera. 1986. Hotel Universe. 1986. Spain, 36. 1986. The Mozamgola Caper. 1987. The Dragon Lady's Revenge. 1988. Rip Van Winkle. 1989. Secrets in the Sand. 1989. Seeing Double. 1990. Rats. 1990. Uncle Tom's Cabin. 1991. Back to Normal. 1991. I Ain't Yo Uncle. 1992. Social Work. 1993. Offshore. 1994. Big Wind. 1995. Coast City Confidential. 1995. Escape to Siberia. 1996. Gotta Get a Life. 1996. Soul Suckers from Outer Space. 1997. 13 Days, Tressa Diaz. 1997. Killing Time. 1997. La Hembra Independencia, The Independent Female. 1997. Revenge Rap meets The Merchant of Death. 1997. Teen City. 1998. The Artist Must Take Sides. 1999. City for Sale. 1999. Damaged Care. 1999. The First 40 Years. 2000. Eating It. 2001. 1600 Transylvania Avenue. 2002. Mr. Smith Goes to Obscuristan. 2003. Veronique of the Mounties. 2004. Showdown at Crawford Gulch. 2005. Doing Good. 2006. Godfellas. 2007. Making a Killing. 2008. Red State. 2009. Too Big to Fail. 2010. Posabilidad or Death of the Worker. 2011. 2012 The Musical. 2012. For the Greater Good, or The Last Election. 2013. Oil and Water. 2014. Ripple Effect. 2015. Freedom Land.